my channel. Thanks for clicking that button and for joining me here today. Alright guys, alright, so I can see my face. It's looking a little oily, but I am not a makeup girl. I'll shea butter right here. So forgive me if I'm looking a little bit too oily. Alright, so don't pay that any mind. So as I said before, I've been meaning to sit down and have a discussion with you. So I'm just getting the chance to do so. And what I wanted to talk to you about is something that I guess we all can relate to, whether it is something that we are currently living ourselves or something that we know or see around us, people we interact with on a daily basis, family, friends, co-workers, siblings, and so on. So what I wanted to speak with you about was the topic of keeping up with the Joneses. So, it's 2020 and a lot of persons find themselves in positions where we tend, and let me not divorce myself from the process, where we tend to buy things because we see other people with it and we want it because we feel left out. So let me start small. So let us say, for instance, my little cheap lipstick that I'm wearing now, somebody might see me in my lipstick and decide that hey, you want to put on a little lipstick, and you go out and you buy that lipstick and you put on your lipstick because you want to look nice and you want to look cute. And then from there, you see me go do my nails. You're gonna do your nails too because you want to look nice and cute, and nothing is wrong with that. We all want to pep up ourselves and look our best selves always and put ourselves forward. But how about when we take that a little step too far, when we go out of our way, like literally go out of our way to keep up with the Joneses, to follow each and every trend that is out there? So I went online and I did a little search. So I didn't do much research because I think I found enough information by going on Google, and I found some information right here on Wikipedia about keeping up with the Joneses. So I'm going to be doing a little reading. So if you see me looking down, I'm actually looking at my machine and reading. Alright, so keeping up with the Joneses, according to Wikipedia, is an idiom used to compare one's neighbor as a benchmark for social class or the accumulation of material goods. To fail to keep up with the Joneses is perceived as demonstrating socio-economic or cultural inferiority. Alright, so based on that definition, and based on our understanding of the idiom keeping up with the Joneses, I mean, it's something that we're all familiar with because we see it everywhere we go. Your family trying to outdo you, you trying to outdo your co-workers, your co-workers trying to outdo their people at church, and the cycle goes on and on and on. And the sad reality is that in keeping up with the Joneses and trying to outdo the other person or trying to look a certain way, guys, because the bottom line is not to look rich. The aim is to actually be rich. And the thing is, a lot of times we pass persons on the street, we pass people on the streets, we see people all around and we think, this person drives a nice car, this person wears nice clothes, wears nice shoes, nice jewelry, have the latest gadgets and so on. We assume that because the person is perceived to have it all going on, that this person actually have it going on. And the bottom line is, and the sad reality is, a lot of persons that you see out there flaunting what they have can barely afford to keep it. they only look rich. A lot of persons out there have some high lifestyle that they can barely manage, you know, because they are trying to put on this facade. They are trying to put on this image that, you know, they can keep up with all the trends. They can keep up, you know, they have the latest phone, they have the latest car, they have the latest clothing, because maybe it do something for them insides, I don't know. So let me continue reading. Right here it highlighted some social effects. The psychology of keeping up with the Joneses has widespread effects on some societies. So personally, I know a lot of persons who are heavily, and I mean heavily, in debt because they are trying so hard to keep up with everybody else around them. And you know, the thing is, you know, sometimes you see you can't keep up with people because you don't know where persons get money from to buy the things that they have. You don't know who is supporting them, but you with your enough self trying to keep up with your neighbor. If you see your neighbor go buy a slippers, you run and buy that slippers too. But I guess it's a part of human nature, and I mean, I was there too, and it took me a while to really understand what was going on and for me to correct that. So I guess to each his own, and I really do hope that at some point very soon you realize that you need to really live your life on your own terms. You cannot keep up with every trend that comes out. You cannot. Well, if you do, you're gonna find yourself broke. You're not gonna have no money. And I'm gonna share one of my early experiences. You know, this phone that you see me have in my hand right here. This phone is a Samsung Galaxy Note 4 that I bought a few years ago. Um, this was the most expensive phone I've ever bought and ever owned. I remember when this phone came out a few years ago. I'm not even exactly sure, but it came out a few years ago, and at that time I had a phone, one of them little simple phone, and persons around me always say, hey Sharika, you need to change your phone, you need to get a proper phone, you need to get up to the times. And being the kind of person I was and still am, I was not so easily swayed or so overly concerned about gadgets and phones, and my phone could have done pretty much most of the same stuff that the hyperphone, quote unquote, could have done, so I didn't really care much. But then after a while, I guess, I don't know, it dawned on me, and I decided that, you know, they're probably right. I need to get a proper phone so I can take proper pictures and get good quality videos, and so to be able to relate to my peers. I went out and I bought myself a phone. But the thing is, when I bought this phone, I didn't feel guilty because I waited until it was my birthday to actually bought this phone as a birthday treat to myself. So at the time when I bought this phone, I paid about 60,000 Jamaican dollars for this phone, right? And as I said, I treated myself, quote unquote, with this phone for my birthday. But the bottom line is, and truth and fact is, I bought the phone mainly because everybody else around me had smartphone, everybody else around me had nice phones, and I decided that I needed to have a nice phone too. Oops, let me pick that up. Everyone else around me had nice phones, so I decided that, you know, I need to get myself a nice phone too. And luckily for me, I budgeted for the phone. As I said, I bought it for my birthday, so I didn't buy it right away when I was being pressured to go and buy this phone. You need to get this phone because, you know, your phone that you have is not good, and you know, you need better quality phone, and to But I got the phone, and as I said, I know a lot of persons who find themselves even the same phone. I have people in my life who pretty much change their phone like every few months, because as soon as the latest iPhone comes out or whatever other brand comes out, you know, they feel that they need to have it. I don't know why, but they feel the need to have it, and so they go out and they buy this new phone, and tutus them broke, which I don't understand. But let me see if I can read more into this. So, according to Wikipedia, there are social effects to keeping up with the Joneses. The philosophy of keeping up with the Joneses has widespread effects on some societies. According to this philosophy, conspicuous consumption occurs when people care about their standard of living in relation to their peers. So you're not buying it for yourself, you know. You're not buying it because you genuinely need this item. You're buying it because you're comparing yourself with other people. So, according to Roger Mason, the demand for status goods, fueled by conspicuous consumption, has diverted many resources away from investment in the manufacture of more material goods and services in order to satisfy consumer preoccupations with their relative social standing and prestige. In continuing, social status once depended on one's family name. However, the rise of consumerism in the United States gave rise to social mobility. With the increasing availability of goods, people became more inclined to define themselves by what they possessed, and the quest for higher status accelerated. The desire to increase one's position in the social hierarchy is responsible for much of the social mobility in America. The upward mobility over the past few decades in America is due in part to the large number of women joining the labor force. U.S. women have slowly and steadily increased their participation in the labor force from 46% of all women aged 16 plus in 1974 to almost 60% in 2004. Even in countries where the desire for upward social mobility via consumerism and conspicuous consumption is strong, the poor may not be able to better themselves. Alright. So guys, this trend right now, for me personally, I think I've done that. I'm now 28 years of age. I'll be 29 in December. This trying to impress people mindset, this keeping up with the Joneses mindset, me fling with that. So I'm so focused on me and building a better future for myself. You know, like every year, it's not even a year now, every few weeks, every few months, there is something new out there, a new car, a new phone, new clothes, new trends in shoes, jewelry, hairstyle, nails, There's so many things out there, and I honestly can't keep up, and I have no intention of keeping up. So my intention right now in this stage of my life, as I said, is to create a better future for myself. And this cell phone, spend my money on better things. My limited resources need to be spent otherwise. So whether that is on education, some books, well, that's education. Developing my mind, no, not in Jamaica we would call this ready eye. Everything you see people have, you want it. If you see me with something, you want it. If I see you with something, I want it. Ready eye. We call that in Jamaica ready eye. So a lot of us have red eyes. We can't see something and not desire. And I mean, I always tell people you have one life to live. We have one life to live, and we must try and enjoy it. So there is nothing in this world, nothing in this world that is too good for me to acquire. So if I see something that I want, and this is me personally, if I see something that I want, I will save towards getting that. So if it's a new phone, so if I decide down the line, because I've had this phone, it no longer works, but I've had this phone for about 4 years, and I had no intention of changing the phone until it stopped work. I have no intention of buying a new phone until this phone run its course. So I did not change that phone until the phone died. So the phone I have now is actually a much cheaper and a much simpler version, much cheaper phone. So it's an emotional behavior that we all need to look into ourselves and analyze, do some deep soul search. We must stop with reggae, we must stop with bad mind, we must stop with greed. Because at the end of the day, some of us put ourselves in so much strain financially to acquire stuff that we never want, stuff that we don't need, just because we want to impress other people out there. Just because we want others out there to see us and think that we have it all going on, well, deeply inside we're suffering. Because at the end of the month, when you get a paycheck, so much out of your money goes towards settling debts for items that you bought that you honestly didn't need. Like for example, that expensive car that you have parked in your driveway, when you could have bought a cheaper car that will do the same thing. It's still a carrier to work, still carrying you to run your errands, still can be used to pick up your children, still can be used to go to church, same thing. But because we want to have a certain prestige, we want to seem as if we're in a certain kind of social class, we will take up whatever we can manage. Ready eye. So I hope that this video enlighten you in some way, and that you will look into yourself and decide that honestly I don't need this item, or you wait. So it's not that you can't get it, but you can delay the item until you're in a position financially that you're financially able to fund this item. And given that you can make the monthly payment, doesn't necessarily mean that you can afford it. Given that you can make the monthly payment, doesn't mean that you can necessarily afford it. And the thing too, what I realized before I closed too, I realized that each time and this is persons who I'm close with, close friends, and myself too at some point in my life. Like each time you get a little extra money, instead of saving that money, we take the money and spend and buy all sorts of foolishness. So you get a little pay increase, your standard of living increase. So if you used to make $8,000 and now you're making $10,000, instead of you still try and live on that $10,000, that $8,000 rather, you change your whole life. So your standard of living, so if you were somewhere where you're paying $3 for rent, you move because you're getting extra money now, so you move higher, so now your rent is now $5. So instead of you saving that money and increasing your net worth, you're increasing your standard of living. So basically your net worth don't move, or sometimes your net worth even drop, because now you're finding that you have to fork more money out because your expenses have gone up so much that even though you get a little increase in money income, you still at the same level because you spend off all of the money instead of saving it or investing it, because you want to keep up with the Joneses, you want your co-workers, you want your church sisters, you want everybody to feel like or to believe that you have it all going on, you live uptown, but you can barely afford to pay the rent. You owe rent. Your light bill soon cut off. Your water bill soon cut off. Because you put yourself in so much strain. Because you want to live a certain life, a certain hype, which is a lie. Because you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. You're trying to keep up with your co-workers. You're trying to keep up with people at church. Guys, right now the only thing I want to keep up is some millions in my bank book. I don't know about you, but to each his own. I do hope that you have found this video to be of value to you. If you have, leave me a comment, share it with someone. If you have not yet subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting on? Click that subscription button and become a part of the family, man. Try not to keep up with the Joneses. Do you, be you, live life on your own terms.